really quickly. Okay, perfect. There we go. So I was getting ready for today's lesson and pulling out a couple of different things. And actually, before we get started, let's start with our gratefuls and let's type, yes, Monica, I agree, and it's only Wednesday. Let's type something in, and I will have a goal that everybody would type something in the chat that you are specifically grateful for today. And mine, actually, I'm going to tell you that I'm grateful for books and resources, because I've been really digging into a lot of new books and a lot of resources, and they have been very helpful, because I feel like, again, we're in such kind of, oh, Christina, hi, I'm so glad you're on. Thanks for being here. I feel like we're still in just a weird, trying time. Dee, will you type in the chat and tell me if it's okay if I share your Facebook post? Because I wanted to share that today, and I actually screenshotted it to see if you were on, to see if you would allow me to share it.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. I saw that this morning. I was like, man, it goes right in line with what I'm talking about today too. So that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to share something for, I'm going to share something about Dee at the end. I'll save it for the end today. So thank you. And thank you for being here today. Yes. Oh, it's Lizzie's birthday. Happy birthday. I love this. Okay. So I've been really trying to pour into things, because I feel like we're just in such still a different time. And some of us feel it more than others. And so I've been really doing a lot of research and just a lot of different stuff. So good. Oh, I love all of this. Grateful. Oh, look at Tyler on today. I love it. And his Red Bull. Love it, love it, love it. Abby, your pool is open. Oh, awesome. Such great. Oh, and Jill, oh, your husband, man, look at you taking care of your babies all summer. Okay, that is awesome. Okay, so I'm continuing in the Super Attractor book. That's not what we're going to talk about today. And I will share with you at the end, because I should have the details for the book club out tomorrow. We've been, actually, Tyler's wife, Kate, is helping me with a new website that I'm really excited about. So did anybody, you can type in the chat, did anybody work on affirmations last week? Did you come up with any? Did you have time to say any? Do you continue to say affirmations? Anything you want to share on that? But I saw this one. Oh my gosh, and look, guys, my brother is on today. That's fun for the first time ever. Woo, love it. Lexi, thanks for being on too. Love it. Okay, so I love this. Oh my gosh, Stephanie, I got the deck cards too. They're here somewhere. Actually, you know what? I took them upstairs. They're next to my bed. I got those in the mail this week, and I love them. I'm loving them too. So I like this one. It's good to feel good. And some days it's harder to feel good than other days. And so I thought, man, when you feel good, doesn't it feel good? It feels good to feel good. And so I just thought it would be good. Oh my gosh, shoot. Stephanie, that's so funny. Okay, she sent them to me for free, I think. I don't know why. Or did you send them to me? Okay, that is crazy. Okay, okay, we'll have to talk about that. That is so funny, because I just opened them yesterday, and oh my gosh. Okay, well, thank you, and I'll give them to someone else. I like to I'll give mine to someone else, because I like to share other things too. Okay, so anyway, it feels good to feel good. But here's what I want to talk about today. I have a couple of different things, and the title's going to be on the bright side. So sometimes we go through negative experiences, and you may have been through a negative experience. You may be going through one right now, or you may totally not be, and that's okay, because you may know somebody who is. And so I want to share a couple of things with you about why negative experiences can help us flourish. So I actually just got this out of, I love Success Magazine. Elon Musk was on the cover this month, and I love this magazine. And so I actually got this, I got a story out of there, and it's funny. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple of stories today. So listen as I read you this. So many people struggle when trying to envision the paths in life that are available to us. It's actually kind of crazy, because when soldiers are heading to combat, their psychologists often tell them they will return either normal or they will return with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, right? And so they talk in here about what this does is give these soldiers a mental map of only two paths. They're either going to return normal, or they're going to return with distress, right? They're going to return with mental distress. And so she talks in here, what distinguishes the people who find growth in these experiences from those who don't. And mindset takes the center stage, because here's the deal. When they only give them two paths, what they don't give them is something called post-traumatic growth. And there's tons of research around this, and it actually happens. So bereavement, bone marrow transplants, breast cancer, chronic illness, heart attacks, military combat, natural disasters, we could throw in pandemics in there, physical assault, refugee displacement. All of this list might read like the worst things that can befall on us. But it also happens to be a list of events researchers have found to spur profound growth in many individuals. And that's why they termed this experience post-traumatic growth. So people's ability to find the path up rests largely on how they conceive of the cards they have been dealt. And so they talk about 3 strategies that often lead to post-traumatic growth instead of actually the stress or the distress. And so number 1 is, these kind of people, they have a positive reinterpretation of the situation or event. So when they look back on it and they're interpreting it, they look for the positive. They somehow have a positive reinterpretation of the situation or event. Number 2 is they're optimistic. They have optimism. And number 3, they have acceptance. They accept the situation that happened or that is happening, and they don't fight it, right? They accept it. It is what it is. And so he says in this article, it appears that it is not the type of event per se that influences post-traumatic growth, but rather the subjective experience of the event. In other words, the people who can most define themselves not by what happened to them, but by what they can make out of what has happened. And so a couple of interesting stories, because remember, people never do what we tell them that they need to do, right? They only do what they self-discover. And there's only 3 ways that people self-discover. It's through questions, through stories, or through experiences. And I don't know about you guys, but I really resonate with stories. And so I found a couple of good ones to share with you. So here's the first one. And I redid this morning because I wanted to add this. I got sucked into watching David Foster's Off the Record on Netflix last night. And I don't know if any of you have seen this, and whether you like him or you hate him. David Foster is really the greatest music producer of all times. I mean, that you guys can watch it. Has anybody already watched it? I must have just come out. I just was like, it was 10 o'clock last night and I couldn't sleep. So I was scrolling through and I was like, oh, I'll just watch this. And it actually was really good. I watched it until 1 o'clock in the morning. It actually was really good. I mean, he produced Celine Dion, Michael Bublé. I mean, there's like hundreds, honestly. Chicago, Earth, Wind, Fire. I mean, everybody. He's produced them. So he tells this story that's crazy. He said one night he was in a studio and he told himself he was going to leave at midnight this night. And he was producing with Michael Bolton. And Michael Bolton said, like, we're really in it right now. Let's not leave. Like, let's not finish. Let's keep going. And David said, I wanted to keep going because we were in the zone, but I promised myself I would leave at 12. So long story short, he ended up staying until 2 o'clock in the morning. He's driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning on the curvy roads in Malibu. And he said before he knew it, he sees like an image in the middle of the road, and somebody's like holding their hands really high up in the air. But obviously it was 2 o'clock in the morning. It was dark. He couldn't see him. And so he said by the time that he slammed on his brakes, it was too late. He just slammed right into him, and he hit him. And so he said he pulled over, and he said he just thought he was dead. He said he saw a body. He had no clue who it was. He saw a body laying in a fetal position, blood everywhere. He said there's just no way that this guy's alive. And then he said the ambulance came and they helicoptered him back. And he said right before they actually brought a body bag, he said, because they just knew he was dead. But David actually saw his hand move at one point. So long story short, he found out a couple days later that it was Ben, I think you say Vereen is how you say his last name, which is this guy right here. And for those of you who don't know, he's famous Broadway. He was in Jesus Christ Superstar, very, very famous actor, right? So David was just distraught. And he just said, for honestly, I don't know the full story. I tried to research it this morning for you guys, but he was in the hospital for a very, very, very long time. And so David said for 2 years, this defined his life. He thought that he had just ruined this. He'd almost killed a man. He didn't die, but he basically ruined his life. So he later found out 2 years later, Ben called David, 2 years almost to the date of the accident. Ben called him and said, hey, that we haven't really made this public, but I just wanted to tell you that, and I'm no in the medical field whatsoever. So I don't know what the technical term for the medical term for this is, but basically he had something, an aneurysm forming in his brain, and it was making him crazy that night. Basically his brain was, he was getting ready to have an aneurysm. And in fact, the doctor said that if by 7 a.m. that morning, he would have been dead, because that's how close the aneurysm was to bursting, or whatever the medical term is. And so actually David hitting him in the middle of the road at 2 o'clock in the morning saved his life. And now today he's healthy and normal and all those things. And so David talks about this, and he says what were probably the worst 2 years of his entire life ended up being one of the greatest things that's ever happened to him in his life, because he saved Ben's life, and he had no idea. And he was looking at this on a totally opposite end of the spectrum of thinking that he almost killed somebody. And so I thought, man, what a great story, because how many of you would be able to push through 2 years of thinking that you killed somebody, and then when they didn't die, you thought maybe they were, a vegetable for the rest of their life, for lack of better words. And then a story like this come out. So I thought, one, that was just a crazy story of having mental toughness. And then number two, look at this beautiful picture of Hawaii. For any of you that have bad weather today, man, this should just get you in a good mindset anyway. I've actually never been to Hawaii, but
it's wonderful.
Everyone says that. Yeah, everyone says that. And I don't know if Josh Epler's on, but they go every year. It's like his favorite place, and he keeps saying that we're gonna get me there. And so there's a book, and I've shared this a lot of times before. It's called Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, by Robert Schuller. And I read a story in here, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. He actually gives several stories of people who've really gone through tough times and what's led them to persevere. And so I just have a couple things I want to share with you, but I want to read you this quick story about a lady named Judy Hall. In July of 1980, Judy Hall, mother of 2 young teenage daughters, found herself unemployed, divorced, and without steady income. Judy wondered how she would possibly survive. She had no formal education and no skill that she could call upon. She was living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, listening to the television program of Robert Schuller's, as we urged her week after week to be a possibility thinker. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys. She heard suggestions as, open your mind to God. Ideas will flow in. One of these will be the idea that God means for you to grab a hold of. Judy believed what she heard, so she decided to try real estate. But she couldn't have picked a worse time to enter the business. As a result, she drastically failed. She could have easily gotten discouraged, but she didn't. Her next idea was to take her girls back to their birthplace, where they could get acquainted with their heritage. She scraped together just enough dollars to pack up herself and her 2 daughters, and they returned to their state of to the state of their birth, Hawaii. After returning to Hawaii, she wanted the comfort of a muumuu. For the men on the call, a loose, I've put a picture so that you could see, a loose fitting dress of the islands, but also a garment with enough style to be worn to non-Hawaiian events. As she shopped for such a muumuu, she discovered that all of them were sold off the rack in one size. They all had a similar Hawaiian print, and none really had any distinctive design. And because they were made of the Hawaiian printed fabrics, they really didn't fit any special occasion that were not Hawaiian in tone and spirit. She suddenly remembered hearing the lesson taught in all of those possibility thinking literatures that she had watched on TV. The secret of success is to find a need and fill it. Judy saw a need and decided to fill it. She purchased some fabric in a mainland print and proceeded to make for herself a muumuu with a decorative border at the hem. She customized the fit so that it was comfortable, but not so loose-fitting as to lose all the sense of line and design. The final result was something very distinctive. Her landlord's wife actually loved her muumuu and said, "Can you make me one?" "Of course," Judy said. "I'd love to. When can I take your measurements?" "Measurements," she said. "You mean it's tailored to fit me? A muumuu that's tailored to fit?" the wife asked. "Of course," Judy said. "I specialize in custom-made, hand-tailored muumuus. The sleeves should match the length of your arms. The length and width of your shoulders should be tailored for you." Beyond a doubt, this was a totally new concept in manufacture and design of muumuus. As Judy thought about the muumuu she had made, she remembered what we teach in our possibility thinking lectures. And here's how you test an idea to see if something is going to work. Here we go. Okay, I want to show you guys this. And so they go on in the book to talk about this. The first question is it practical and will it fill a vital human need? Judy realized a muumuu is exceptionally practical because it fits any lady of any shape. Anyone with weight problems can easily hide bulges under their full and flowing style of the muumuu. The second question to see if your idea is successful or not, can it be done beautifully? Judy thought, yes, the muumuu can have a greater fashion flair. It can be done with more sophisticated draping and tapering and with a layered look like formal dresses on the mainland. The third question, and this is a big one, can it be done differently enough so that it will stand out from all the others? She decided that it could if she didn't use Hawaiian prints. If she used fabrics that are popular on the mainland, the muumuu would not be restricted to wear at Hawaiian parties. And then the fourth question, can it receive this stamp of excellence and be a little better than anything else that is being offered? Her answer, and if any of you guys are business owners or you're thinking of doing something, man, these are really, really good questions. Her answer was immediate to the fourth question also, yes. This muumuu would not only be practical, beautiful, and different, but it would excel in value, quality, and style compared to the muumuus currently marketed in Hawaii. With $100 and this confidence, she decided to start. Dr. Schuler, Judy Hall told me recently, I made my first muumuu 10 months ago. Today, this book is really old, by the way. Today, I'm turning out 123 dresses a month. And he said, but are you really making money? I know you need to. And she said, you bet I am. I'm doing it by keeping my overhead down to almost nothing. I take the measurements, I buy the fabrics, only 3 basic ones, so I'm not stuck with a lot of fabric and inventory that isn't being sold. I deliver the fabric and the measurements to a lady who cuts the entire dress in her house. I pick up the cut out pieces and deliver them to one of several women who do sewing in their homes. As a result, I've been able to run this entire business, manufacturing 123 dresses a month without any office at all. I operate out of my little apartment. However, my business has grown so much that we are moving to a new office next week. It'll be 117 square feet. And he says, I couldn't believe it, 117 square feet, but that's only one room. It's less than a 10 by 12 foot room. And she said, yes, but that's really all I need because of all of the cutters and all of the seamstresses work out of their homes. I don't need the overhead. My overhead is virtually nothing. But you still needed cash to finance the beginning of your option, didn't you? He asked. No, I really started with only $100 and the idea. The idea was, what if people were having a muumuu tailor-made for them, and then I could expect and ask for an advance payment along the way. And then this is the biggest part. I love this. She said, guess what, Dr. Schuler? You're right. Anything is possible if you have faith. I'll tell you something else. The biggest problem any of us ever face is our own negative thinking. And I loved that story. I just thought that that was such a great story. And she just goes on to say that when my friends saw me with 2 children and no income, they were really worried about how we were going to survive. And then when they saw her making her own business, they were like, what is she doing? There's just no way. She'd never studied dress designing or any of that stuff. And so it goes on that she ends up actually becoming a really successful muumuu designer in Hawaii and all around Hawaii. And the reason is because she had possibility thinking. And I just thought that is such a great thing. So, okay, I want to talk to you about possibility thinking really quick. So what is the secret ingredient of tough people that enables them to succeed? So think about this. All of you guys can probably think of somebody who you would say is a tough person. Why do they survive tough times when others are overcome by them? And then you can also think of people who are overcome by tough times. Why do they win when others lose? Why do they soar when others sink? The answer is very simple. It's all how they perceive their problems. They look at problems realistically and practically. They understand the 6 principles that pertain to all problems, and we're going to actually go over those next week. But possibility thinking, he does not claim that it can solve every problem, is what Robert Schuler says. It's not going to solve every problem, but there is no doubt that the vast majority of problems can be solved if we only believe. And he has in his book, with men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And I just thought, think right now, and I'd love for you to maybe type in the chat, think about, can you think of somebody that pops in, you don't name them, just say yes or no, but can you think of somebody that pops into your head that is really, really strong and perseveres through tough times? And then can you think of somebody, does somebody come to your head who maybe I hate to even say this word, but maybe they're weak and they can't overcome stuff when it happens. And so I keep thinking about what is the true difference between those people? Do you think, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think people are born with this, or do you think it's a developed skill? Do you think it's something that they've learned over years, or do you think that they just were born with that? Yep, totally true. Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. Yep, totally love that. That's one of my favorite quotes. And so I want to share with you guys. So Dee Begley is an agent, is a realtor. She's on today. She's been on several times. Hold on, let me stop. Amber said develop skills, something we're trying to change mindsets. Yeah, yes. I think it can be learned. I agree, Patty. Develop from what life throws at them. Yeah, I would agree with that. You guys see those lines on the screen? That's weird. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it can be developed too. Yeah. So Dee, I love that she's on today because she has been going through. She's had a year, I guess. Would that be fair to say? I think it would be fair to say. Okay, she's saying yes. She's nodding. She's driving. Pay attention to the road. I'll tell you.
I am.
Okay. So Dee's had a trying year. She's actually a realtor in the KW family, and she's just an amazing person. However, I don't know if not a whole lot of people have really understood or known what she's gone through the last year. But I want to read to you guys what she posted 2 hours ago on Facebook. And I read it and I thought, oh, and I almost texted Dee to say, can I share this? And then I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to let the universe, if she's on today and she says we can share it, then that's what we're going to do. And so I'm so grateful that that's what happened. So here's what Dee said. At 2 hours ago, a year ago today, I received the call that mammogram scans were abnormal. I had heard before and there were no issues. 4 days later on my birthday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I could not control the situation as it was all in his hands. I cried when told it would take a year to complete treatments. How could I do a year? You guys, she is a go-getter, by the way. She is a hustler, busy all the time. So I can only imagine what she was thinking when she heard a year. Where would I find the strength? Chemo, surgery, and radiation followed, and they were hell, no other way to say it. I fractured ribs and dropped 50 pounds with 26 of those over 2 weeks. You go through an array of emotions and stages, and unfortunately, the literature you receive is supposed to teach you acceptance. I am fascinated to say I threw those away, leaned into faith, family, and friends, and I am getting on to the other side of this journey. I do believe, here we go, this is the best part, B. I do believe it was the best thing to happen in my life to make me well appreciate life more. To connect with people and not just work. On my birthday last year, I had my first birthday bash and did not share my truth for 30 days so I could process, wrap my brain around it, and honestly strengthen my mindset. I told 3 people, one who went through it, my coach for mindset, and my best friend who lets me get away with nothing, including being down or pity. This year, last test showing negative markers, 4 chemo sessions remain. Then we take more tests and believe it will also be good. And if by some chance it is not, we will deal with it. I do not do long posts, but felt needed. To you all, I love you. I appreciate you and for thinking of me and the kindness over the past year. I am good, and he always has me always. If you feel like you would like to donate to a charity, which I'm gonna post that in the Facebook group. And she just said, let's love one another a little more and know tomorrow is not promised. And I just thought, man, Dee, would you just share for what? Yes, I love. So give her some love in the chat. People already are. Dee, I know that you're driving. But one, please keep Dee in your prayers if you're a person of faith. Because yes, Blair, she has an incredible testimony. And Dee, I know that your faith is really, really strong, and that has what's led to you having such a great mindset. But is there anything else that you would share, not to put you on the spot because I didn't ask you this before, but is there anything else you would share just if somebody is struggling with mindset, or maybe, because I know we all know people who this has not been their response when something's happened?
Not at all. I'll try to be brief. So I wanted to put that out there because a lot of people did not know, and they also had not. So I told them, and then they don't hear from me for a year. So is she okay? Is she still relevant? Is she okay? So I wanted to put that out there, and it was just it was a very somber moment. I use every day to use gratitude. Involved in our close Facebook group here at the office, we have our own prayer group, and we pray on everyone. And I appreciate the prayers and the love. And honestly, I'm very stubborn. So initially, I was a little difficult because people wanted to pour into me, and they wanted to bring me meals, and they wanted to watch my kids and walk my dog, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, looking back, I should have said yes to all that. But to me, I was good. I was not to the point where I was incapacitated. So I didn't want them to, for lack of a better term, waste those resources on me. And then finally, someone told me, they said, let them do that because that's what they need. It's not about you right now. It's about them. So yes, I've got 500 casseroles, and I love them all. I think I still have some in the freezer now I think about it. But anyway, but really, I want people to understand, like, when you're given this, you're going to respond in the way that you are going to respond, and people cannot tell you how you can do it. So most people have been like, I can't believe that you're here. I can't believe that you're working. I mean, you could be in the fetal position, and that's one way that you can respond, not good or bad. But to me, it was like, I have kids, I have friends, I have family, I have a life. This was an inconvenience, as I told the doctors when they told me. I remember my response when they told me. I said, "Wow, that's unfortunate." And they were like, "We've never had anybody see that." I was just thinking about all the stuff I got to do. Like, nobody has time for this. And just being strong. And you know me, so I like to help our agents. I like to pour into our office. It's a great office. It's a great culture. And you have to understand, that was the best medicine for me. I was not delusional. I was not understanding the seriousness of it. I had my quiet times of pain, but I dealt with it in the quiet times. I have to be strong for my kids. I got to be strong for my family. I got to be strong for the agents. I don't take pity. I can take not knowing what to say, but I don't take the other stuff. So to me, it was the best medicine. It was the best medicine. So if you're going through it, I know your first instinct may be to keep it inside, but you have to understand we're a culture that they want to love on you, so let them love on you. And you will be stronger on the other side of it. I don't know what my story is, what I'm supposed to glean. I never once said, why me? I tell everybody to this day, I never said, why me? Why me, God? Why'd you choose me? Because you have to understand, that's not, first of all, I didn't own the cancer. I still don't own the cancer. You don't pay mortgage here in our terms, okay? So you're a temporary guest. You got to go. However, I talked to Myra and I told her, I said, I feel compelled, and I haven't written since I lost my grandmother when I was 9 to breast cancer, and I haven't written since then, and I've written a lot in this last year. So I want to write a book. I want to give other people strength. So it's going to have mindset talk. It's going to have scripture. It's just going to have the reality of it. It's not a cakewalk. It is truly, but it's how you deal with it that you'll get to the other side. So I thank you guys for looking at it and reading it and sharing it. That wasn't my intention. My intention was just to let people know I was okay, because they're afraid to ask. And I'm more than okay, so.
Well, Dee, thank you for sharing, because I love, and Patty posted in the chat, blessing you blesses other people. And so it's a blessing when you get to bless someone. So letting them bless you, you're actually blessing them in return, which I think is awesome.
It took me a long time to realize that, but I understand now. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I'm going to save the chat so you can go back and read it.
All right. Love you.
Love you, Dee. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Her last name is Begl, or let me just type it in the chat. There we go. Okay, yes. And I'll post it also, guys, in the Facebook group as well, too. Okay, so I know we're at time. That was perfect. Man, that was like the perfect ending. So that was I'm attracting. Remember, that's what I'm thinking right now. Okay, so Super Attractor Book Club details should be tomorrow. Will you type your email in the chat right now if you would like an early email link to be able to register? Type your email in the chat and we'll collect those and we'll send it out to you. And then this week, find time this week to think about possibility thinking. What would you rate yourself on a 1 to 5 when it comes to how you think? 1 being you are not even anywhere close to D, and 5 being you are like D. So that's your scale on how you can rate yourself. How do you think you are with possibility thinking? And then continue to send your handwritten notes. Thank you guys for the ones that you've sent to me. I just always appreciate it. I love handwritten notes. And then keep engaging in the Facebook group. And if you want to invite friends, then definitely feel free to do that so that we can all share it together. And that is it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dee, again. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, guys. Monica, feel better.
Thank you.
Bye, dear.
Welcome.
It was
Bye.
good.
Thanks, Day. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.